When it comes to separation of concerns, my experience has shown that analytics is typically an afterthought. Usually it's slapped into a production-ready code base, untested, creating new dependencies, muddying up the code. Ideally, it would be separated out from the application logic on the front end. And today I want to show you an approach that my company uses to do just that. If you watched the last video that I made on Jasmine Spies, you will recognize this application with some modifications. It's a musician voting app, and you can upvote and downvote musicians based on their position in the list, or the position in the list will change. If you take a look at the network tab here, when you make an upvote or downvote, a third-party analytics service called Mixpanel is called with the data about the vote. If we take a look at the profile, we can leave comments, and if we take a look at the network tab here, we can see that Mixpanel is also called with the information for the comments. So let's take a look at the code here. We have the application, and we're pulling in the two module dependencies we're going to need for the neosavvy-angular analytics approach, and that's neosavvy-angular-core analytics and neosavvy-angular-core controllers. Otherwise, we've just got a simple routing structure that shows profiles based on musician names. And if we take a look here, this is the Mixpanel library that you get from Mixpanel. It has a global Mixpanel object that has a Mixpanel.track method. Two controllers we're concerned with are the election controller, which runs the votes up at the top, and that calls Mixpanel.track with a vote and provides this data. The profile controller has a method called pushComment, which updates comments by adding them to the musician's comment list. It also has a track method right down here, and this takes in the name comment, musician, and the comment's length. Now the goal is to get this Mixpanel.track business out of the controllers, and I've typically found that to be the place where it lives in most production applications. So with the NS Analytics flow, we have a config here, and what we do is at config time we get a hold of the NS Analytics provider, and at runtime we get a hold of NS Analytics. So let's first take a look at this. Specifying NS Analytics per controller is ideally pretty painless and allows us to specify this outside completely the controller itself. The method we're looking to track is countVote, and the name of the event is vote. And then we get options here, and this is a hash, however many things we want. In this case, it's only got this musician property. And then here's where it gets really nice, is we can actually just throw variables in here, and this is important because we need those variable items to show us application state with analytics. You're rarely going to have an analytics call that doesn't take in data like that. So let's create the same for the profile control, and in this case we're doing it on a controller method, but that's not going to change anything, and that's why I wanted to show this via two different method formats. So the name here is going to be comment, and our options are musician, different scope variable, scope dot position dot name, and then comments. Let's grab this from here. Okay, cool. So we have just replicated what is going on here, except for the Mixpanel part. NS Analytics knows nothing about Mixpanel. It's just an interface for dealing with your analytics calls. So in your callback is where you actually call your service. And in this case, the interface actually matches Mixpanel. So I kind of like their interface. Just the idea of having a name for an event and then an options hash. So this is the callback function up here, and you could specify anything you want here. You could have conditional logic or multiple callbacks. You could call different services. It's really up to you. Now the goal here is, now that we have this config running, we should be able to take these two little guys out of here. And thus we're cleaning up the code and also removing that dependency from our controller test, which is ideal, and creating a single place to update all the analytics in the application. Let's take a look at the running app. Let's start with the main page. And if we take a look at the network tab, we have upvotes and downvotes, and they are getting their track methods. Let's take a look at this. Clean that up. This is the Lemmy. And awesome, and that got tracked as well. So NS Analytics is available in the neosavvy-javascript-angular-core library. We want this to get out to people because we think it's a good technique for dealing with this real live business case. But it definitely can use some more work and improvements and feedback. So I want to just give some details here. So this is how you install it via Bower. Currently we're on 0.1.6. This is the repo. You're free to go over there and fork it, and I would encourage that you do that. Comments are nice, but forked repos and pull requests are even better. Right now it requires jQuery Lodash node UUID, which it uses for creating unique IDs, and neosavvy-javascript-core, which is just a non-Angular JavaScript library we have. These are two modules you have to load up, and you can email me for questions. My goals for the future of this library are taking out the jQuery, Lodash, and node UUID dependencies. Probably not this dependency, because we use this for a lot of our JavaScript libraries anyway. The projects we've worked on already with this already had these dependencies, so it wasn't really a big issue, but I know as more people want to use it, that'll be the case. So send me your questions, send me your feedback, and I hope you have a better time writing analytics because of it.